Hey everybody, my name is Joe.
I am also Joe.
Welcome back to SNES's Life. This is recap number 23, I believe. We got Blazeon's Bio-Cyborg Challenge, Chuck Rock, Space Megaforce, Cyberspin and Imperium. We're just going to stack right into these. Blazeon, the Bio-Cyborg Challenge, was an interesting horizontal shoot 'em up. What do you think of this game?
I think it was a really cool idea. You fly through using your ship, and you have your main weapon, which is the guns, and then you have a missile. And if you hit certain enemies with the missile enough times, they turn blue, and you can take them over. And that is the point of the game. You take over the enemy ships
Yep.
to beat the game. So I think it was a really cool idea. The sound was okay. The graphics, I think, were pretty okay.
Sure.
The gameplay, while it was interesting, was very, very slow.
It was very slow.
It had slowdown. It was just slow in general. There were portions before bosses where you just had 30 seconds of nothing.
Yeah, you were just flying and there was nothing going on, which is, I mean, I guess it's nice as kind of a take a breath and relax for a second. But these games are supposed to be fast paced. There, right. You just saw us take over an enemy cyborg ship, whatever the hell he is. It was a very interesting kind of gimmick, taking over the enemy ships. Most of the graphics, like you said, were pretty decent. The sound was pretty decent. The music was okay. And the gameplay was fine. It's just that slow. It's such a slow pace that it sets. And these games you really don't want to drag out like that.
If I remember correctly, there was a lot of slowdown.
And there was a good chunk of slowdown when a lot of stuff got on the screen. It's just kind of the nature of shmups, I guess. But yeah, it was an interesting game, but we ended up not particularly caring for it. We both gave it a thumbs down. This is going to be a sad consistency in this episode. Next up, Chuck Rock, October 27th, 92. This is a platformer game. You're a caveman named Chuck with a big fat beer belly and a Jay Leno-style chin, and you are trying to go find your girlfriend who was kidnapped by another caveman. The graphics are okay. They're colorful, they're bright. Everybody knows I like colorful, bright things. It's very cartoony. The sound and the music was okay. It was passable. The game, however, you only had 2 ways to attack enemies. 3, I guess. You could belly bump them, which is a very short range. You could kick them, but only if you're jumping when you do it, and again, very short range. Or you can throw these rocks at things, which the aim was not the greatest. There are a lot of small enemies who are much shorter than you, and you can see he keeps walking behind things. Because they're small, a lot of the times you didn't see them coming, so they would hit you. You didn't get any kind of other weapons or upgrades. It is just mostly a platformer.
It's just chucking his rocks.
He's just chucking rocks. Unfortunately, I didn't particularly care for them. Now, I did enjoy when you see him get hit, he like breaks the fourth wall, looks at the screen, goes, bleh, and his eyes are like bugs out, which is kind of funny. It did make me laugh, but it doesn't make me want to play the game again. If I'm going to think platforming cavemen, I'm going to go back and play Joe and Mac.
Which was a far superior game.
Which was a better...
I personally enjoyed it way more, especially because it was 2-player.
There is that. It is 2-player.
Like, not only do
and 2-player at the same time.
Right. I just think it was a better game in general. You had weapons. You had, 2 players. It was more straightforward.
It was a lot more fun. And a lot more... Oh, yeah, straightforward. You said straightforward. You're right. It was just a lot more straightforward. Chuck Rock looked okay, but it just didn't play super well, and we didn't find ourselves to be fans of it. So another 2 thumbs down for Chuck Rock. Sorry, Chuck. But you get to our shining spot of the week. October 15th, 1992, Space Megaforce. This is a vertical scrolling shooter where you get a ton of crazy bonkers weapons and very colorful palettes. You got like super parallax scrolling there. You got like 6 layers deep. You got the forest on the bottom, the clouds, your layer. Or actually, no, I'm sorry. There's like a layer you're flying over above the clouds, then your layer and the enemies. There's a lot of stuff to look at. Very bright, very colorful, very fast-paced.
I personally really enjoyed this game.
I liked it.
I enjoyed it because there are two ways to make, in my opinion, to make a shoot 'em up beatable.
Yeah.
And that is either give a bunch of power-ups or give a bunch of life. And this game did not have a bunch of life.
But it did throw power-ups at you like it was
threw
Easter.
power-ups at you so much. And the power-ups upgraded very quickly, and they were very cool. It overall made it a very fun experience for me. And this is the first thing I think we've seen in a while. It was a shoot 'em up, and with so many different moving characters and things, it had pretty much zero slowdown.
Yeah, they kind of figured out at this stage in the Super Nintendo's life, they were starting to figure out how to program and not slow down the game. Now, that's not to say games didn't have slowdown, but it was becoming less frequent. And this game, yeah, look at the size of the animation there. It looked good. It was big. It was colorful. A lot of stuff on screen at once. Yeah, now we both did like the game. The music was pretty good. Sound quality was good. The gameplay was fine. I mean, it plays like a shmup. What do you expect?
Right.
There are some cool levels. I don't think it's in this video that we're watching here, but there's one where you're like attacking a space station and it keeps rotating as you're flying over the top of it. That was a hard level too. So it was pretty cool. The level design was neat. We enjoyed it. It's definitely worth looking up. It is considered one of the better shmups on the system, although I still not anywhere near my top probably 1 or 2, frankly. It's 4-ish probably. That'd be interesting to do sometime, like a top 10 shmups once we get that far into the system. But I did give it a thumbs up.
I also gave this a thumbs up.
All right, thumbs up it is. Let's get to the next one. You take this one. Cyberspin, October 30th, 1992.
Boy, what do I say about Cyberspin? Graphically speaking, I think Cyberspin was pretty good. I think the sprite work was all right.
Okay.
It wasn't very slow. It definitely gave the feeling of fast.
Agreed.
The sound quality was okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't terrible. You had, Tyler squealing. There was music.
There was.
Though it wasn't very memorable.
Yeah, it's pretty blah.
But it was okay graphics, okay sound. The gameplay kind of sucked.
Left something to be desired, to say the least.
It's not even that it controls bad, because I think it controls all right. But
it's a little slippery.
It is a little slippery.
But that's how it gives you that feeling of speed.
Right. But you touch the grass at the wrong angle, you spin out. When you're playing against other racers, they touch just the corner of your car, you spin out.
Yeah, watch. They bump. Bam, right there. He hits him and you spin out immediately.
If you get hit while spinning out, you get shoved off to the side immediately, like it just showed. If you hit a wall, you will go exactly 90 degrees. And this level didn't really show it much, but each turn is a different angle. Maybe not this track specifically, but it does it later in the game, and it still only shows that one symbol of a turn. So you don't know how sharp the turn is until you've played the lap multiple times.
Yeah.
And it gives you not a whole lot of warning.
Particularly for how fast it feels.
Right. So, you see the sign, instantly you're there, and you don't know how much you're supposed to be turning. And you're going super fast. You lose health very quickly. Your turbo also makes you lose health. But
Which
you
is
basically,
fine. I think that's an
agree,
interesting...
that's fine.
That's an interesting management issue.
Basically need to use the turbo to even complete the requirement lap.
So, here's the thing. Newsflash, I didn't like this game. When you pick this game up, it is a racing game. You should be able to pick this game up and immediately be like, I got this. This is a racing game. But the very first thing you have to do is pass a qualifying race where it's just you on the track. You have to beat a lap in 45 seconds. It took us 20 minutes to manage that. And basically, I had to have the turbo button pressed down 90% of the time I was driving, and I had to manage to make all of these turns without spinning out or driving into the grass. And even when I did finally beat it, I beat it by 1 second. Barely beat it. And that's what got us to the video you're watching, which is the actual race, and we never finished the first race. It just isn't happening.
We did put in a password to go to a later race, but did significantly worse.
It's difficult, to say the least. Now, it did give me a feeling I haven't had since I was 15. And that is, you know how you throw a Frisbee disc? You're like, ugh. I had the controller in my hand, dude, and like every muscle in my arm tensed. And I just wanted to flip the controller so bad because I was so pissed off of this stupid game.
And I feel like the game would be fine if, like, they could even take out the speedometer. It doesn't matter. If they either put in a mini-map...
That would solve a lot of problems.
Or if they just zoomed it out more.
Also would solve problems.
Very close on the screen.
Yeah, you don't see much of the screen, but you're right. Either one of those could have solved that issue.
To be fair, there is a lot of gameplay in this game. We looked at the only playthrough we could find on it anywhere. And the dude was hauling through the levels, like speed demon going. And the video was still 1 hour and 6 minutes long. So
muscle memory. Yeah, it's not that the game's not there. It's just that it's very difficult to get into. If I had rented this as a kid, I can almost guarantee I would not have bothered getting past that first 45-second lap beat. Like, I'd have just been pissed and quit. So I didn't care for this game. I'm gonna give it a thumbs down.
I also gave this a thumbs down.
It's a racing game, for God's sakes. This should be an easy pick up and play, not a suffrage through 20 minutes of both just to get to the first race. You know? It's a real failure, I think. Last game up, Imperium. This is another vertical scrolling shooter, November 1st, 1992. You are flying a mech, which is pretty cool, I think. Graphically speaking, everything looks great.
I think graphically speaking, it was really, really decent. I think it was very cool.
I like the background, and you're going to see it real shortly. There's a bunch of like enemy ships that come flying real low, like you can't affect them, and then they just like bomb that city, which is very cool. So they paid a lot of attention to what's going on screen. Good enemies, good visuals, colorful, bright, interesting. This game had a lot of weird, I don't want to say gimmicks, concepts. They wanted to try a lot of stuff out. So you see in the top left, you have an experience bar. Now, you start with one weapon, it's just like a little machine gun.
I personally really like the experience bar.
I think it was a really neat concept. I agree. And when you pass your first experience bar, you get access to the Sonic Wave. When you pass your next level up, you get another weapon, and then another weapon, and then finally you get your first weapon goes up to level 2. And then the Sonic Wave goes to level 2, next level 2, next level 2, then finally your machine gun goes to 3, 3, 3, 3, 4, 4, 4. All right, that's fine. You can switch between these weapons also. On the top right, you can see that you have 5 health. You can get hit 5 times before you die. To the right of that, you have 4 speeds, basically. You can change between 1 to 4.
Which don't matter.
Which really didn't matter, yeah. We did not find a particular use for that. The downfall, I think, of this game comes in 2 spaces. One, when you get hit, you lose a level of your weapon. Whatever weapon you're using, you lose a level of it. So let's say you had level 3 across the board. And let's say you were 10 experience from getting something to level 4. But you got hit. You lose a level on whatever weapon you were on. And now you have to level it back up to 3 to be even with the others before you can level to 4. So if you were real close to a level up and you screwed up and got hit, you're basically having to replay that whole level again.
You better hope you don't get hit 5 times because you have 5 health. And as soon as you hit, not only do you lose a level of your weapon, but you also lose a health. And as soon as you die, you restart at the beginning of the level.
Yep. This is, you don't get extra lives, you just die.
And you restart with all of your weapons at level 1, so you're playing that harder stage that you died on with base weapons.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
And you have 1 life.
Yep.
You die, you die. You do get continues, though.
You do get continues, but it
4.
starts you back at the level.
And you only get 4 continues.
4 continues. There is a mid-stage boss, which is just as hard as the end-stage boss, frankly. So it is a very difficult shooter. Does that make it bad? No. The sound was fine. The music was pretty good. The sound effects were good. Everything was good. It really is just kind of that 1 life, you're dead, and then losing your power-up upgrades is kind of a pain in the nuts. In the end, the game was fine. I think it's probably worth playing. But we're getting to that stage where we've played over 100 games, and now we're just getting a little pickier about things. Like,
It's not a bad shmup, but
Yeah.
I've played better shmups.
Yeah.
Multiple.
Agreed. And at this point, like, we just thumbed up Space Megaforce, um, which is probably just as hard, really. But Space Megaforce, you get multiple lives, you get plenty of continues, and you don't lose your weapons when you get hit. I mean, you do lose the weapon when you get hit, but it throws so many fucking power ups at you, it doesn't matter. Like, it's power up candy just flying through the air. Where in this one, you have to level your weapons up, which is a neat idea. But the fact that when you get hit and you lose a level and you have to level it up a second, third, fourth time, whatever, it's just kind of a hassle. So is it a good game? Yeah. Is it worth looking up? I mean, sure. If you like shmups, you'll probably like this one. I think it was okay.
Make sure you have an emulator that can run it, because ours apparently could not. We experienced
a lot of slowdown.
A lot.
Which somebody who joined us in the chat while we were playing said that they have the cartridge and it doesn't slow down nearly as badly. So what are you going to do? I did give this a thumbs down just because, like I said, we're getting pickier and we've played ones that we prefer.
I also gave this a thumbs down.
So sadly, that's a whole lot of thumbs downs this episode. But hey, what are you going to do? It happens every now and then. So that's it. Thanks a lot for joining us for episode or recap number 23. We're in a couple of games into week 24 already, so that one's coming up. We've got some cinematic platformers in there. I mean, yeah, they are what they are. But thanks everybody for joining us and sticking with the channel. Have a good one.
See you guys.